All right, back here on Punch to the Face, we are joined by Ike Vallie Flagg, aka Ike. My man is
Vallie Flagg.
Vallie Flagg. I'm bad with
I had to
enunciating
correct
names.
you. That's okay.
But you're going to be a part of Titan FC 34 on UFC Fight Pass. Going to make your Titan FC debut. How you feeling, man? How's training camp going with you so far?
Training camp is good. I had a short one so far, just because this was kind of a late notice fight, but I'm coming off another fight, so I was already in pretty good shape. I got in good shape for that fight, and then I had a chance to rest for about a week, going to Disneyland with my family, and then I was right back at it. So this is a short notice fight, but like I said, I was already in pretty decent shape heading into this camp, so it's kind of paid dividends.
Yeah, and as you said that, you just fought here on June 6th for Jackson's MMA out there in New Mexico. Like I said, the short turnaround, luckily for you, that fight it went, not even a full round. Is it, for a fighter, having a short turnaround, whether it be, in your case, really roughly a month, is that sometimes a good thing or a bad thing going into a fight?
It can be both, depending on where you're at mentally and physically and all that stuff, So it really kind of depends on how your fight went and all that stuff,
Now, you're going to be stepping in here against Jason Whitt here at Titan FC. What are your impressions of Jason Whitt in regards to this fight and this fight actually going down and this opportunity for Titan FC?
Jason is a real tough kid. I've looked at stuff on him, and he doesn't have like the biggest record in the world, but he is pretty tough.
And this is going to be this is going to be a step up in competition for him. When fighters step up in competition in fights like this, and given your experience, do you think sometimes they get overwhelmed by the moment, or is it just kind of just what happens to be a part of their mental psyche? Is it just they got to just take it as being a normal fight?
It depends on the fighter, and I think I'm looking at Jason as the kind of guy just based on who he trains with and kind of his attitude the other day when we were on the phone is the kind of guy who steps up when he has a challenge presented to him, He really seemed like a calm kid. He trains with James Krause and he trains with Jason High out there in Kansas City, who are two very talented guys, So I think that I think this is just another day in the office for him, honestly, It was, his composure seems pretty, from what I've seen, seems pretty good, so.
Now, for you just picked up a win, like I said here, first week of June. How important was it to get back on the winning track after the three, losses in the UFC, which kind of questionable. Trust me, a lot of us media and fans think that one of those definitely was a fight that you won, at least the last one in the UFC. How important was it to, at least from the mental aspect, to get that losing streak over with and get a win for you going forward in your career?
It was huge, I really didn't realize how big it was until after I won, because after I won, I kind of found a new fire again, and I was ready to fight again right away, and, having 3 losses in a row kind of messed with me mentally, and I didn't even realize it. I really kind of thought that I was motivated the whole time, and I wasn't, and like I said, this win kind of got lit a new fire underneath me, so snapping the loss streak was real important for me mentally. And, obviously nobody wants to have a bunch of losses on their record, that they're a good competitor. So, it was important for that as well.
Now, when that release happened from the UFC, you got a lot of love via social media from fellow fighters, fans, and saying, telling other promotions they need to reach out to you, they need to sign you. How good of a feeling was that to know that you still had people out there who showed you love and wanted to see you back get an opportunity to do what you do, because you don't put on boring fights. People want to see you fight. So how cool was it that when you got so much love from social media after the release?
It really was pretty cool to see that from people in the media and also my peers who are fighters, everybody who's seen me fight knows I come to fight every time, and I think that kind of played into why people wanted me back on the card. And I think I'm a pretty decent guy, and I think people see that. So that's the other reason I think people want to see me do something good again.
And like I said, you don't put on boring fights. It's one of those things to where when we see your name on the fight card, we know two things. One, you're going to put on a good show. Two, there's going to be blood. I mean, is that a good or a bad thing for us media people to think when we see your name being a part of a bout list?
No, I think it's a good thing, and I think it adds respect to any card, whether it's my blood or somebody else's. I think it's kind of one of those things that, the crowd appreciates that kind of stuff, and fans appreciate that kind of stuff, and I think they just appreciate the kind of fighter who leaves everything in the cage when they fight, So, I think that being said, I fit well in any organization if you want to have some fun fights, That's kind of what I think about Jason, too, watching him fight. He's the kind of guy who likes to leave everything in the cage as well, so I think this is going to make for a really good one.
Well, absolutely. Now, I do have to ask you this question. You're past 35. Why in the world are you still doing MMA, man? Because this is a crazy sport we're part of, whether you're a fighter or whether you're MMA journalist like myself. We know that this is a very wacky, crazy, at times delusional sport. Why in the hell do you still want to be a part of it?
I've asked myself that a few times, and I kind of come back to the same thing. There's stuff I want to accomplish still, and I still have love for the sport. I think I have a few more fights left in me because of the fact that I started later in life. It's not like I took a bunch of abuse when I was a kid, like a lot of wrestlers do. So I have more fights in me, and I want to do some more stuff in the sport before I retire.
Well, Ken Shamrock show we can fight in our 50s, so, I mean, you still got plenty of time if that's the case.
I'm not going to Ken Shamrock at all. That guy is, I give him kudos for fighting until he's 50, but I'm not going to do that.
Oh, okay, well, you just never know. You just never know now.
Yeah.
Now, with you being a part here of the Titan FC card, and it's going to make his debut on UFC Fight Pass, how important is it, because I know everybody's goal is to either get in or back in the UFC. This is something that, Jeff Harrison has said himself is going to be a gateway for a lot of fighters to get back in there. How important is it to put on an amazing show and another great fight like we know you can do on UFC Fight Pass?
It's important, and I don't just think it's important to get back in the UFC. I think it's important for Titan as well. Nobody wants to have a card that's just known as a stepping stone, and they don't want to have, just be known as guys fight here and then they go to the UFC. So I want to put on a good show for Titan as well, and for the fans of Titan. I want, it'd be nice for them to be known as an organization that has fun, exciting fighters as well.
Well, absolutely. Well, let's make sure we give a shout out to any sponsors and let the fans know where they can keep tabs on you here on social media leading up to the fight here in a couple of weeks.
Social media is at IkeVF on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook with my name, which is hard to pronounce. And then I got to give a shout out to Jackson's Winklejohn. Of course, my biggest sponsor is my employer now, and they're Specialty Communications. You can find them on Twitter at Specialty Comps.
Well, cool. Well, definitely, man. Well, you take it easy. We'll see you in Kansas City, my hometown. So I will definitely be there cage side to watch you put on a fight. You're one of those guys that when I saw the complete bout list, I said it's a pretty good chance Ike's going to probably steal the show. He's going to get some sort of bonus of some sorts, and it's going to be a lot of blood. So I'm really looking forward to it. Just please don't get any blood on me. I'd appreciate it.
All right, I'll try not to. Hopefully I don't get too bloody myself. So.
Well, absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you on UFC Fight Pass here on July 18th, part of Titan FC 34. Again, we appreciate you taking our time with us, and best luck in training here leading up to the fight, all right?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in a couple weeks, man.
All right, thank you.